the main event, our top performers, and then right off into the sunset to the weekend. But our 6-man tag team main event, Penta, Eddie, and Frankie, and the Good Brothers plus one half of the tag team champions, Matt Jackson. But before this, earlier in the show, we saw an absolute fire promo from Frankie Kazarian. Man, that guy was quoting Bible verses. His new persona is probably like my favorite that I've seen him in AEW as the Elite Hunter. And so I really enjoyed this promo. Obviously, Eddie can talk the talk, but he almost let Frankie have the spotlight, and boy, did he spit some fire for sure, man.
Yeah.
That pre-match promo earlier in the show, really, really enjoyed that, and it helped us set the stage for the main event.
It's a great visual right there too, man.
Yeah, another high energy, fun main event. I mean, I think the two people that stood out the most was, getting the pin, Carl Anderson, Machine Gun, and Penta. I think those two guys would be fun. A one-on-one match down the line, maybe eventually if the Good Brothers do kind of stay in AEW. But I thought Penta was great as always, and of course in the conniving egotistic heel fashion, they cheat to win again. So how many times are we going to get a cheat to win out of the Young Bucks with their title retain? When are we going to get a clean match?
Well, that's something. Yeah, I mean, that's something that Bonds, booking by Bonds this week, guys. You got to go to the column this week because that is Bonds' biggest. He takes it and runs with it. The question that I've had watching AEW television is, who dethrones the Elite? Who finally takes these guys down? And I think that you're starting to see like the Avengers, like I've talked about, this group coming together to take down the Elite. I really am curious to see, and again, because even though we love the heel Young Bucks, we all love heel Young Bucks. They're phenomenal. This trope of the constant interference, the shenanigans, the ref stuff, it is. You got to be careful because it's starting to even irk a heel guy like me. Right. So I think that you got to have somebody break through and be able to overcome all the odds, the cheating, the ref, distractions, the numbers game. Somebody's got to come through and emerge, right. And that's where it's starting. Like we're starting to question, if not this group, if it's not Moxley and Pac and Penta and Kazarian, then who? Like it in Kingston, like you got all these people coming together that are bona fide superstars in AEW. Sure. If they can't take down the Elite, then who can? Right? It's really becoming a story where these guys just seem to always find a way to sneak out of victory. And I love what the Bucks are doing. I think that they're hilarious. I love what the Elite is doing. That, like, if I was allowed to, the Elite would have been my top performer of the night because I felt like Kenny's promo work earlier in the night. Don Callis was absolutely gold.
Yes.
And then with this main event, I personally feel like these guys know what it was working and what's connecting and what's clicking, and man, are they just going all in. We talk about buckle up on a Dynamite Download. They have the pedal to the metal, full throttle on this trolling heel vibe. They know it drives us crazy. They know it bugs us. They know it like it's something we hate. So they're doing it even more. I love it. It's absolutely hilarious to see happen.
It is. I mean, maybe whoever does ultimately take down the Elite, they need to steal that cold spray and start getting that. Maybe that's the golden ticket. They need to start spraying their bodies so they can really be prepped
they can
and ready
be nice
for the
and chilled. I like it. And that's what we talk about, right? I mean, like, who can dethrone the Elite? The Hangman Page earlier, that segment tonight, you saw, like, so many of us are assuming he's going to be the guy who dethrones Kenny.
Yeah.
When that was brought up, when his rankings were brought up, he really kind of skirted the question. He wanted it to be more about the Dark Order and all the good stuff happening in the Dark Order and all this stuff. And it was obvious that he felt uncomfortable with the pressure on him. So, I think that's another example of the long-term storytelling really playing into effect here. It makes us question, is Hangman the guy who's going to do it? He clearly doesn't believe in himself, even with the help of the Dark Order. You could tell Pac is right there. Every time he gets a chance against Kenny, he gets screwed out of it. I really love this, the Elite and their manipulative ways of trying to keep the everybody under their thumb. I think it's showing Don Callis too in a light that's like he's the master manipulator. He's the puppet master. He knows he knows how to play the game, and it's creating some of the most compelling AEW content that they've had since the creation of this company. To me, I think that it's absolutely working, and they're going to get to a point, SPD, where even a heel like me is going to be on your side. It's like, let somebody beat these guys. I hate them. They're going to make us hate them so much, and that's the goal. I think that's the goal, is to truly hate the Bucks and hate Kenny for cheating all the time. I think that's going to be the ultimate goal, and then they'll pull the trigger.
I already hate them so much. I like them. It makes me love them.
Yep.
Just the ridiculousness for sure. But, the match itself, I thought was a great match overall. High spot, good way to end as well. But adding that, like you said, extra element of Don Callis on commentary is always so essential. Dude. It's like your hype man that's traveling with you everywhere you go, and he is the best. And so that was, a good main event. They haven't announced essentially what's next for Young Bucks, because this was a quick pivot after last week's loss, with the Young Bucks and Cutler which was a great match. And this quick pivot. So what's next? Where do you go from here with these guys in terms of, do you pitch another team against them? Do you have another 6-man? Do you have a singles match? What would you do next for the Young Bucks, specifically just those two guys?
Well, I think that the long-term money is, like we talked about earlier in the show, it's Santana Ortiz. So from us to get to the Young Bucks to Santana Ortiz at All Out, you need to have something, at least one new contender emerge during that time period that really is legitimate. And I think that the writing for me comes off of social media. I see what's happening. I see where these two teams are coming. The Acclaimed and the Varsity Blondes. You have the number 1 and the number 2 contenders. Both are really exciting, talented young teams. Honestly, very different, but everyone loves the Acclaimed.
That's true.
And Varsity Blondes, I think, really are onto something. I think that the Varsity Blondes have a real connection with fans. So I think if you have a mini feud between those two teams, you set that up. They become the winner of that one becomes the clear-cut number 1 contenders. They take on the Bucks. Bucks again somehow get the upper hand, and then that leads us to Santana Ortiz versus the Bucks down the road. To me, I feel like you got to have at least one more legitimate contender emerge between now and All Out. And when I look at the landscape of AEW, I look at the ranking system. When I look at the landscape, I look at the ranking system. I think that I'd like to see the Acclaim to get another shot. I know I'm
both
Team
guys
heel.
have had a shot, so it would be nice. If you run it back in such a deep roster, maybe you just the winner of those two get a shot, one more shot or something, even though they've already had their shot at the Young Bucks.
Right.
It's hard, but what I mean specifically, you need another team, but Eddie doesn't seem like he's going to be going away anytime soon, or Kazarian. So
yeah,
I feel like we're going to get another match run back again somehow, and for the next couple of weeks, Kazarian's not going to quit now that he's been dubbed the Elite Hunter.
Right. I think that in that sense of things, there is definitely a war that's brewing here, right? You have the team Avengers that I talk about with Pac, Kingston, Moxley. Right. Pac, Kingston, Moxley, Kazarian, and you have that whole crew that's emerging, Penta, on that side, that have been wronged by the Elite. I think that you're going to see sort of similar things happening here, where the Elite are going to have these they're going to have different variety of matchups. You're going to see Pac and Kingston go head to head with them. You're going to see, like you said, Kazarian needs to be in the hunt for that. I think Kaz and Kingston would be a really nice pairing. If you have Moxley kind of having some time to spend some time with his newborn baby,
right? You
could keep this feud fresh. If you have Kaz and Kingston go after the Bucks, that'd be a lot of fun, don't you think? That's
ultimately bring back
team. Ooh, I like that.
If you talk about, if we don't have PNP dethroning the Bucks, a returning Rey Fenix with Penta, the Lucha Bros, all the number 1 deserving tag team.
Wow.
Could and should dethrone them if in the cards are PNP not necessarily getting gold yet, because I think we still need this Pinnacle Inner Circle feud milked. I still think even if they don't win gold, which we dream booking for them to win gold, in front of the fans in New York City, But even just them beating FTR main event non-gold in the grudge match in New York City would be as big a pop if they did one tag team title.
You are on to something here.
If they don't incorporate the Inner Circle with gold at all, because then that essentially will kind of branch away where Inner Circle is doing maybe 2 feuds or branching away from the Pinnacle, which we don't want. Maybe you have the returning Rey Fenix and the Lucha Brothers dethrone the Young Bucks.
You are on to something there, brother.
I
love that idea. I love that. Then you're doing mutual storylines. You have the returning Rey Fenix with Penta going against the Bucks and winning that. Now that would be a home run.
We didn't even talk about that.
Everybody would love the Lucha Bros. I love that idea. It's an awesome idea. And then you get that grudge match between Santana and Ortiz and Pride. Like you get that against FTR.
Fireworks.
And that whoever wins that one becomes the number 1 contender. I love, and then oh my God, Santana Ortiz versus the Lucha Bros. That sign me up for that. That's an awesome idea by you. I really like that idea a lot. I think that makes a lot of sense.
I think that would
Phoenix
work
can come
better
back.
in a sense.
It fits in the existing story. I agree with you. I think that's an awesome call. Let's see if that happens down the road. I really think that would make a lot of sense. And talk about like then you get the Death Triangle, Phoenix, Penta, and Pac with Kingston in the mix too. Like it's just like that. All that. It's just really interesting how that could come full circle.
Sure.
I love this. That's a really great idea, man. Love where your head's at with this feud.